I'm gonna play Igor. Like, you have to have played Shattered Throne at some point. I'll play Hologramophone.
Yeah, that is the downside
That's
with what's its faces LCGs, right? Like if you don't start when the game starts,
then it's like you're a year later and it costs you $200 to get into it, right?
I mean, I think it's a little bit different with the cooperative ones, right? Because
Yeah.
if you wanted to get into Arkham Horror and you just want to start with the core set, I think you can have pretty fun with it.
Yeah.
And then when you're bored with the core set, you can expand pretty quickly.
Yeah, because you can get like a new scenario or two.
But it's not like Game of Thrones or any of the other LCGs where it's like, you have to have everything to be competitive.
I think LCG model ultimately was a failure for the competitive games.
Yes.
It feels like that to me because like they never really hit the end of life they wanted to hit with their LCGs.
Yeah.
They ended up having to retire them early.
Yeah.
Star Wars LCG.
They had to reboot Game of Thrones.
They had to reboot Game of Thrones.
And it's
still
basically
dying.
dead.
They're done. They said they're done.
Okay.
So it's over.
I mean, maybe it's just that the Game of Thrones property is just done at this point because the show is finished and people weren't happy with it.
Yeah. Netrunner, same thing. Warhammer.
Netrunner was licensed. That was problematic.
Same with Warhammer.
Conquest and the fantasy one.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was a fun game. I mean, all the games were fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think an LCG was bad ever.
No.
And I think there were like a lot of good reasons to play all of them. But something like Netrunner and the Star Wars LCG, really good games, really miserable tournament experiences because you have to play
like asynchronous games.
Yeah. So I love asynchronous games, but it's just miserable to play those in a tournament. So
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Some of it was a license. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the danger of making a licensed game. Did this deck advance Razor Stall?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's the pitfalls you run into. Somebody owns the license to Netrunner now. They were like revamping it or something. I saw on Twitter. I think it's real small. I don't know if it's like digital only or something, but yeah, I don't know. They were showing off cards.
So. I think it's tough in this world even to make a card game that can survive. Yeah. Yeah. Keyforge it's got a lot going for it, in that it's not like the other games, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, that's the biggest thing about this game is that it's an experience unlike other card games.
Yeah. Whereas Pokemon and Magic will survive forever.
Yeah, that was the thing. WotC owned the Netrunner name and system. The Decipher ones, people still making cards for that game.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Still, I got a pile of Decipher card games. I'd love to do the card game Necromancy series where you go back and we like look at old CCGs.
Give me that Lord of the Rings card game, man.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah, I got a box of it somewhere.
So good.
That game had a lot of really cool mechanics.
Yeah,
I'm afraid you can't expand those mechanics to a property other than Lord of the Rings. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
because I also think it was the traveling to
the sites.
Yeah. That was what made.
I
it
also
so
think
fun.
a problem that game ran into as more sets came out is like there was sort of a limitation on design space.
Yeah,
just built into the game, and then they had to kind of create more like weird stuff.
Yeah. Well, they had to. I don't know. Did you ever look at one of the last couple of sets they made for the game?
Briefly, yeah.
They had to blow up every minion side. They basically made minion sides like racial. It was like orcs. It was like orcs, evil humans, goblins. It was like weird because they stopped like
you had like Nazgul and you had like Uruk-hai and then you had
right. So it was like spirits or whatever, and the Nazgul were in there, but you also had like the dead dudes and stuff like that. So and then the evil men were like the Dunlanders and the Easterlings and so yeah, I mean it was like
that makes sense like that, but that's something that they should have done from the beginning, right?
Yeah, well, and the big thing was like they were effectively new villain sides, so the old cards didn't work with them anymore. So it was just yeah. I mean, it was Decipher made some of my favorite games that have ever existed.
I just feel like their long-term plan was never good.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
never good.
No. Somebody talked about how they knew the original Star Wars game was in trouble when they made a set that you could not use for sealed play. There were 2 total characters in the light side in the Dagobah set, because the Cypher's main problem, in my opinion, was that they were so beholden to the movies. They basically said, if something happened in the Star Wars movies, they wanted you to be able to do it in the card game. Okay? And they wanted... So, you could... You had Jedi training, okay? And it was designed... There was a Luke that was printed that was designed to be Jedi trained, okay? But you didn't have to use Luke. You could use anybody that you wanted to. Luke had advantages to do it. And so... later on, they printed a Leia who was actually really good at training for Jedi. And so a lot of the Jedi training decks used her instead because Luke was more valuable other places.
Other types of Lukes?
Yeah, because there were other versions. So like you had like these unique rules. So it was like you could only have one Luke in play.
Right.
And there were 1,000 different versions of Luke. And they were all good in different ways. So... there was the Luke that they called Farm Boy Luke, and it's Luke in this like his white uniform, hanging around getting power converters at Tashi Station, and so he was like the best pilot.
Okay.
And then they made a Luke who was like really good in snow speeders because of
you got your Hoth Luke. Yeah.
So you got Hoth Luke,
classic.
And then you had Jedi training Luke. And then they I think they fucked up personally when they made so that it used to be you had your characters who were in play, and then you had to like put your weapons on them, and so most of the time everybody had like their own named weapon. So like Han had his DL-44, and Chewbacca had like a bowcaster, and all the Luke had his Anakin's saber, and Obi-Wan had his lightsaber. But you had to like draw them together. You like just couldn't throw Obi-Wan's lightsaber on anybody. You often could deploy them on other people, but it was like very expensive to do it, so it like wasn't worth it. But like when you put it on a character, it was like free. So gotta go pick up power converters.
Thanks for that follow.
We appreciate that.
I was trying to watch you guys for a weekly night of non-Keyforge. Tell us you guys podcast like I mean, yeah, we end up just randomly talking about crap.
Yeah, well, I can. So I remember. I am dying to meet someone who ever listened to when me and my friend John did we did a Warhammer Conquest podcast, 40K Conquest podcast. We made about 8 episodes, and I remember we did the first episode. We ended up having to cut like a 10 or 15 minute bit from it, where I just talked about Hecatomb, the card game, which was the card game that had the pentagonal clear cards. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I've never seen this game.
Okay, yeah. So there was a card game called Hecatomb that had pentagonal clear cards on it. It was made by WotC, and the thing was, it was a game where you like smashed monsters together. So the reason your cards were pentagonal was because you had like a monster and it had like an ability right here, and then like when you jammed another monster on top of it, it got the ability and it would show right here, but it was now this monster, but it also had the monster that you had before. Yeah. And so you're like smashing stuff together.
My suggestion for getting into Keyforge is find a buddy. Each of you buy a display and then spend like some time during Christmas break and just each one of you open a deck and play it.
Yeah.
And just open a deck and play it. And then after you open all those decks and play them, pick which ones are your favorite, maybe even ones you don't like, and then like try to like get better with them. Play them, like try as many matches as you can.
Yeah, and I recommend checking out the other formats like Adaptive. I think Adaptive is really good for new players to play because I can see scenarios where like one person opens up a busted deck, their buddy opens up a terrible deck.
Yeah.
All right, and it's not fun to just lose those games over and over again. So you guys play. And then you swap decks and you play again. And if one person won both games, then they won the match. But if one deck is just overpowers the other one, you spend a third game to determine the winner of the match by bidding chains, which are basically like a handicap. And that I think is a really fun way. One, because it lets you kind of like gauge why decks were so good. Is it good because of efficiency?
And you try to determine if this deck, how much better than this deck is the other one. Right. Can I win with 8 chains?
Yeah.
Can I win if I'm down it's like 10 cards.
Yeah, it's a bunch of cards over the series of a game. So
might need a raise. Dude, Coda displays were $36 on Amazon for weeks. They might still be pretty cheap.
Yeah,
AOA displays are $50.
Yeah, you can pick up
you can get it older. I mean, older sets are still very relevant.
Yeah.
So don't shy away from buying Coda or AOA. There's a lot of really fun stuff you can do in AOA. They're still in the 40 range. I mean, that's 12 decks for $40.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
You have a chance of making your money back. So yeah, once you add in tax.
South America.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You're gonna have to pay for shipping and whatnot.
Yep. You don't want to move to Italy. There's one thing I know is that every best Keyforge deck is in Italy.
Yeah.
Every good deck in the world.
Yeah. But anyway, the reason. So yeah, I can talk about dead games.
And we've played a lot of different card games.
Yeah, and I've played even more. So another one of my favorite games was the City of Heroes card game.
I never played that.
Okay,
I did not know that existed.
That game was really awesome because, like, in the rules, you could make your own character. Because like they wanted to capture that aspect,
that
of
feeling
it.
of the game.
Yeah, so you could make your own playable character. They were like the named characters from the game,
right?
And so
that game was incredibly good, and that was that MMO was ahead of its time.
Yeah,
way ahead of its time.
Yeah,
that came out before WoW.
Yes,
by the way,
right?
Yeah.
But they were also, so you could play the named characters that were like the banner characters of the storylines and stuff like that, but there are also rules so that you could make your own combination, because you
combine like the different power
exactly, because in the game you got to choose two powers that you wanted. So
and then you overlap those with like a travel ability,
and there wasn't a character for every combination. As it was, so you could make your
unique
own
ones.
Yeah, so you could make your own ones.
Did you play as just one character, or
I can't remember her name.
Was that the game? Was like you're controlling one character and fighting each other? Or?
Yes, okay. Yeah, you were just fighting each other. I can't remember her name, but I played. The named characters had special moves, which gave them a slight edge, and so I honestly don't remember the character's name. Appreciate it.
My first name actually comes from Sonic Care. I played. Oh, wow, that's cool. That's really cool.
I played. I can't remember the character.
I was gadgets and something. It was like I can't remember. It was like base stuff, but my name was Destruzler.
I was lightning something, and I was apocalyptic.
I remember that.
So
that was great.
Yeah,
it was a really good character creator. Man, there was a private server for that. That like,
have you read the drama about that? The drama about that game is amazing. Like that's how you know it's a great game. Is that years after the game is dead, there's all kinds of drama surrounding it.
Yeah, because it was like someone from the company had stolen like the base code for it and set up a private server that they only released to their friends and family.
Yeah,
and eventually that got ratted out.
Yeah.
So
there was a project. I don't know. Did you hear about that? Because there was like a project where people were trying to reverse engineer stuff.
There was actually a project where people were creating a spiritual successor to the game.
Yeah. Well, so there was somebody had all of the characters. There's like a data, but it's like encrypted. So it's like years old encryption. So it's like something that could potentially be broken. But yeah, like apparently there's the community has a database of all of the characters that existed in the game, but it's one of those where it's like you have to so if the game gets to a point where it can be like reinstated, then you can actually go back and play your old character.
Yeah,
which I think is awesome. So
yeah, City Heroes and City Villains, they were two games with each other, like each faction. Yeah. It was weird. It was definitely weird, but it's really cool conceptually. NC Soft,
Miss Liberty, I believe, was the one I played.
NC Soft like had a really bad habit of making an awesome game with an awesome release and then trashing it. Tabula Rasa.
God, that game was so good.
Tabula Rasa.
Tabula Rasa was so good.
It was so good.
That game was incredible. I was like, I bought that game on a lark. I was like, oh, Richard Garriott. Okay, yeah, I know that name. I'll try this game out. And I was like, holy crap, guys, this game is so fun.
Yeah. I played the crap out of it.
You shoot people with a sonic shotgun. You hit people with a weapon from Minority Report.
And you got to run around those like bases and defend them.
Yes, the base assaults. The base assaults. That is like the most fun content I have ever played in a game.
Yeah,
that was like because you were like you were presented with a fight you could never win because the fights would get more and more difficult.
Yep, you just get overrun. It was like wave shooter in. Back in the day before like that was a thing.
it was some Dynasty Warrior shit where it's just like you're wading through piles of aliens and you're like you've got your finger on the button like when do I evac are we gonna make it through this wave because like you knew you were in trouble when the NPCs in the base started dying to the aliens. That's when you knew you had to evac. So like that was so
took over my Ethernet port so you guys could defend their base. I mean that's reasonable. It's totally reasonable. I think that's fine. Man, that game was great. But then they put out like this combat patch that made combat just not fun. And it was just it actually just
made it every other MMO, every other grindy MMO, and I was like, oh no.
Well, guess what we compare that to? Yeah. Star Wars Galaxies.
Yeah.
Same thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They revamped the system and it's like Star Wars Galaxies is like the most unique skill system in any game.
Yeah, that I've ever played,
and still the most open-ended like world.
And honestly, I think the game was ruined before that because of the Jedi Hunt.
Yes,
because of how they chose to implement it. One of the most powerful things I'd ever read about that game was one of the lead designers. He wrote basically like a memorial post after it was when the game shut down. They were like finally shutting down the game, and he was like. Today they're finally shutting down this game and I've got a lot of fond memories of working on it, and he talked about a lot of design decisions. The problem is that they made a decision to stick to some of the stuff that they had said before the game came out. And they made a bad choice because they basically people were having fun in the game doing what they wanted to do. Yeah, and I remember
it was a crazy sandbox.
I remember that era where it was like, let's go fight those Jedi in the Force Caves, right? Let's go die to these guys for hours. And it was like, let's go make a base, let's go do PvP shit. We're Imperials, let's go buy some ATSTs and then like wreck dudes, and so you got to run around and do whatever the hell you wanted, and it was like really awesome. And then they released the holocrons that told people how they could become Jedis. Yeah,
you had to like master that class.
So you had to go do shit that you hated.
That's true.
And so you didn't play the game that you wanted to play anymore. You were playing something else. And he was like, that was it. Because when he was talking about it, he was like, that was honestly the saddest thing. Watching people who loved this game having to throw away everything that they wanted to do in the game. Because you
had to like abandon one of your skill
trees. To go do shit they hated. Yeah. Right? If you wanted to play Dancer Dude and you wanted to just chat with like all the Twi'lek babes.
Or you could you have the cantina where you have like doctors posted up, they're buffing people. People are waiting in like single file lines to get buffs from doctors and they're tipping them.
Yes.
And you have like dancers over here and you need dancers
you have a lockbox. You gotta go find a smuggler. You gotta go find somebody to slice the lockbox open for you. So
and then dancers are there because you need dancers to heal your like mental stats. So you go chill in the bar for a while. You actually make friends that way.
I have not seen that. So
no, he's a Wookiee dancer. That's amazing.
That's the funniest character on our server was the Mon Calamari chef, who was fat, and he was like sick poop. Yellow brown, okay? He was a fat Mon Calamari, and his character's name was Sack Warts. Easily the funniest character on the server.
That's so good.
Yeah. And God, I just like that you want to talk about a game that you had a reputation in? Like I remember there was the dude you bought weapons from on our server. You went to Corellia, you went to that first row player houses, you looked for that dude's house, you walked in,
and he had a stash. He had the goods. And I gave that dude, I don't know how much money, because you could set up vendors in your house. Like, you didn't have to be
like a vending machine.
And so you just have a guy. And I remember my pre-nerf FWG 5s or whatever they were called, because I played Pistolier. That was I think Pistolier. What did I play? I played Ranger. I loved Ranger in that game because you could make those bases just out in the sands.
Yeah.
You just set up those camps with like the laser wires and the Jajaric hollow boards and all that shit. Man. So I like playing Ranger Pistolier, and Pistolier was so fun because you had a pistol whip move, and so you go running at somebody and shoot them, and you just like hit them with the pistol and knock them down, and when you were knocked down, attacks would hit you for maximum damage. So what you would do, you'd hit people with the pistol whip, you put your big bleeds on them, and then you'd run away. And then, like, when they were trying to catch up to you, you just hit them with the pistol whip again. So, God, man, I wish I could go back in time and like somehow save that game.
It's like that game exists on private servers now. It just doesn't quite.
It doesn't feel because the thing is, it's not. You don't have the genuine one. I could say that the internet's ruined MMOs in a lot of ways because a lot of stuff turns min-maxy eventually, right?
Yeah.
Sandbox games, like, and I would say it's something like Twitch. You need some sort of competition for people to watch, right? Like, you can have communities where you kind of build stuff and whatnot, but those are never going to draw the numbers that, like, say something big in competition will.
Right.
And it doesn't take many people to ruin communities where people want to build things.
True. I mean, and you can't really have an MMO. I don't think that MMO can exist in today's world.
No,
it can't really make money.
Yeah, I don't know how you make money.
Yeah,
because I don't. Yeah, microtransactions.
They've shown that model of MMO is just a failed business model.
Yeah,
unless you're WoW.
Yeah, right.
Even WoW monetizes a ton of stuff.
Right. Well, WoW stopped reporting subscribers at some point because they knew it looked bad.
Yeah.
They were probably still profitable, but they knew it looked bad.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, you're down 1 million subscribers."
Yeah, exactly. I guess WoW's down.
5 million. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's fine. Nathan can talk as much as he wants.
Oh no, I want to talk a bunch, man. I can talk about old games.
He's got a lot to say.
I can talk about old games forever. That's why I want the card game necromancy section.
We could make something happen, I'm sure.
I want to talk about the Dune card game, where the spice in the card game is worth different amounts based off the number of how much spice is in the game because there's a supply and demand rule in the game. You had to have a chart to play the game because spice got worth less the more of it that was in play.
That's amazing. I can't remember. One of the judges, Marcus, at the tournament, I was talking to him for a little bit. He said he used to be a designer on card games, and one of the ones was X-Files card game.
Oh,
and there was a couple others.
Our friend Matt bought some recently because he bought like a lot off of eBay for like $100. That game was actually really cool. I never had a chance to play it. I know the premise of the game was you had a conspiracy, the other player had a conspiracy, and you were like trying to uncover what their conspiracy was, and it was kind of like a Clue kind of thing where it's like, I think you are alien abduction conspiracy or something like that, or it was like your government conspiracy to do this kind of thing. So you had like agents that you would send out and would try to like uncover stuff about what the opponent had, and then you're trying to like foil the opponent from investigating you.
So here's what we got to do. We use all this prior knowledge of card games, and we design our own card game. And we design it with Twitch chat. Twitch makes a card game.
Twitch makes card games.
Tabletop Royale / Twitch design card game.
We have the emote phase of the card game.
Twitch plays TTR. I think the two of us could design a card game.
Yeah.
I think we have half designed so many games.
Yeah, I have a Google Doc of just ideas.
Yeah, I have a lot of random ideas. I have one game I ever prototyped.
Yeah,
and it was pretty good, and I kind of abandoned it.
Yeah.
I have one game that I looked at that I designed 5 years ago. I like wrote up the rules for, and I looked at it, and it was very similar to our favorite game that we played at Gen Con this year, Bargain
Quest.
Bargain Quest, yeah. It was Bargain Quest, essentially the same mechanics, except it was wizards running a mall restaurant. It was like you played a wizard as a mall like kiosk restaurant or a food truck or something. But it was like drafting. You drafted recipes, and you had to like make food, and then you had to attract the adventurers to come to your booth and buy your food. Which is like very similar to Bargain Quest. Right. But Bargain Quest is really good. Yeah. And I think the flavor of Bargain Quest is probably better than that because like you're also sending them through their deaths against the monster.
That's so good. Yeah.
No deck building, supply and demand system. Use old MMO knowledge. We can build it, so you have to use a skill tree.
You have to answer a trivia question to draw a card.
Yes. Nathan's recording plays. Yeah. And it's him asking your trivia question. You have to hit the Nathan button.
We need to go back. We need to bring back the old VHS games.
God,
there's got to be actually that would be hilarious because you could put the videos on YouTube with like timestamps. You could like I do think there is like a
we need to go back to the DVD board game era. Yeah, you're saying, but you just throw it on YouTube.
You just put it on YouTube. Yeah, right. I think there's probably some like choose your own adventure shit that you could do with that kind of thing.
Yeah, you choose this. You choose that video. Play this video.
Right.
You got Bargain Quest the other day, dude. It's so good.
Bargain Quest is real good.
It's so fun, so fun.
Omega Virus. There you go. Yeah, that's another. There was some horror themed one.
I really wanted to There's a Thing board game, but I really wanted to design a Thing type board game that uses apps that you don't know if you're infected or not. So like, most hidden roles games, like Werewolf, if you're the werewolf, but like at some point you don't know if you're infected.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of play as if you might be.
And that would be interesting. That'd be interesting. Like you get into a fight and it's like blood gets on you, and you legit don't know if you're infected or not.
Yeah.
And then
but there's like a doctor who can do a test or something. Yeah. And you're like, I don't know, I want to be tested.
You're right.
But I think there's I think there. There's one game that uses apps now. Yeah. I know.
Nightmare. There you go. That's it.
One Night Ultimate uses apps, but it's just basically just to call the game.
I think there is a lot of design space in like that fusion territory of technology and board games. Apps. Yeah, but the problem is that development is expensive.
Yeah, development for apps is a lot, and that's not something
we have to wait for the second .com bubble to burst.
Yeah,
we have to wait for Uber to finally go bankrupt.
Well, there's the is it Cool Mini or Not designing a game that's like Dungeon Crawler on a board that's interconnected, and they can they have it knows where your figure is and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I think that looked really cool. They kind of showed a prototype of it a few months ago that I watched the video for, and it looked really interesting. It's the entire board is app driven. I guess is the concept. Two Rooms and a Boom is a drunk character where you place their actual roll off to the side until the last round, so you can do something similar for the unknown infection. Yeah. You do like Magic did and have it be a URL that gives you a random answer.
Oh yeah.
For like Urza. Yeah.
There's a Planeswalker.
AR would be cool. Yeah, there's so much cool things you can do with board games that I think people aren't doing yet, which is surprising because you have hundreds and hundreds of board games coming out a year.
Right.
It's still one of the biggest things on Kickstarter.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder when. I don't know if board games are in a bubble or if they're at a sustainable place, right?
I really don't know.
I think it's weird, right? I honestly thought there was a chance that Trump's trade war with China, because so many board games are printed in China, I thought it would board games would get tariffed to the point where they're $200 to buy, and people just wouldn't buy them. Yeah. And then I thought there was a chance something like that might happen, but I think for the most part we've been spared from that. So
yeah. Imagine a card playing animations in AR on the board, like the Star Wars chess game.
Yeah, Dajaric.
Yeah. Nathan loves to tell you that he knows what Dajaric's called.
Well, that's because all of those creatures were named in the Star Wars card game that I was just talking about. And there were Dajaric rules.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So there was a Dajaric site that you could play that only hologram characters could be deployed to. And you couldn't deploy actual characters to that site.
So you don't even have to ask.
Yeah. Are you ready? I'm sorry, Hurt. Did you want the Dajaric rules explained to you?
Because you're about to hear them.
Too bad. Yeah. So yeah.
You had the Kenton Strider, and you had the Kalor Slug, and so it was hilarious that the hologram that of the Emperor that Vader talks to. That was the most powerful hologram.
You could play it onto the
Jarek board. You could play it onto the Jarek board. So the Emperor's just like, you just destroyed everybody.
Oh man,
so
that's incredible.
Like I'm telling you, like if you describe something from the Star Wars movie, and I will tell you how the rules work for that card game.
Sabacc, got it.
Sabacc, yes. Okay, so Sabacc in the game. There were actually Sabacc rules, and there were cards that would start a Sabacc game, and there were different like triggers to it. So there was like regular Sabacc, that you had to have like a gambler to play, and then there was like Trooper Sabacc, where you had to have like troopers, and it was like the idea was it was like guys in their off time, like stormtroopers in their off time are playing Sabacc and whatnot. So
the Han Solo game was disappointing of Sabacc in the movie.
Yeah, I think you just, if I were to write that scene, Han sits down to play Sabacc, and then you don't actually show the game because you know that he wins the Falcon.
Yeah.
You don't have to show him winning the game at all. It's just the movie ends with him sitting down to play Sabacc with Lando.
Or it ends with Lando like betting the Falcon and him saying like call or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to show the result because we know what the result is.
Yeah, just smiling credits.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's the way I would have written it. You don't have to show Han winning the game.
Yeah.
Lando puts the keys to the Falcon on the table, and Han just like smiles. Boom, movie over.
Isn't that the problem with like most of the new Star Wars stuff? Is like they're showing you everything.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But then you watch the Witcher show, and it's not holding your hand at all.
It does not hold your hand. No.
So,
oh no.
That's the difference in the type of storytelling that I would prefer.
The Jarek rules. I don't actually know how the Jarek is played. I can tell you how it was just played in the card game. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I think we're done. I got some Path of Exile to play.
Yeah, I know. Witcher is really good. I liked it a lot. I'm gonna go watch an episode right now.
Yeah, it's actually. Did you play? If you played the game, in my opinion, it is easier to get. The first episode
is good too.
I think the first episode of The Witcher isn't the strongest of the show.
I don't know.
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it,
yeah.
But I knew like who the characters were basically immediately.
Yeah.
And that sword fight in the village is so awesome.
It's really good. No, that sold me. Yeah.
He takes the sword, just like shoves it through that dude's chest.
God.
That was like awesome.
No, that shit's incredible.
Yeah.
The
sword play in that first episode, like, because you might be like, whatever.
The first episode probably has the best action.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like that's not even my favorite part about the show so far. But exactly. I don't know anything about The Witcher. I only put like 10 hours in the game, and I couldn't really get into it.
So I mean, there's like all kinds of quests there's at least one of the quests, which was like one of my favorite quests from Witcher 3, has an episode that gives you the backstory for that quest.
Yeah,
you just kind of have to like assume what it is, because I was like,
we also keep in mind that like the show takes place way before the video game, and the video games aren't technically canon in the Witcher universe, and the show is based off the books. I don't know. I feel like I want to play The Witcher just for the story. I'm just gonna like turn on the easiest mode possible.
Oh yeah, no, it's not easy, right? So that's actually one of my favorite aspects of the game is that the monsters in that game are dangerous, are like actually murderous, and the reason that people hire witchers is because you can't just kill these monsters. And if you spend like 15 minutes researching the monster and finding the materials that you need to fight it, and you'll find something that gives you like a 5% edge, and then you'll find something that gives you like a 10% edge, and then you'll go put together something that gives you a 20% edge, and then you go into that fight ready and prepared. You have a chance, kind of thing, and that's why I think that game is awesome for that reason. So,
yeah, I don't think going back to play Witcher 1 or 2 is probably pretty difficult.
I don't think,
especially 1.
From what I've heard, it's not really, you don't really want to do that.
Yeah. But Witcher 3 is probably like the crux of where you want to be with
Witcher. I think you get enough information in Witcher 3
to where you don't need to play there once.
You just kind of have to go with it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like a character's gonna show up and it's gonna expect you to know who that person is, but just roll with it.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Or just watch the show.
Yeah.
and you get that backstory. I am pretty impressed by Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
I didn't really expect him to be that good.
The fact that he has the Geralt grunt is just, it sells me every time.
I also didn't realize that he refused to accept no for an answer for that role. Like he's like, I want to play The Witcher.
Yeah.
And he said he kept calling his agent so much that his agent told him to stop calling him. Because he's like a super nerd and he he liked The Witcher games and he read all the books.
Right.
And then he's like, I need to play The Witcher. I can do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, I guess you can because you're jacked as fuck and you can do The Witcher voice perfectly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was pretty impressed. Like he's done a really good job. And he's a huge dude.
Honestly, the ending to Witcher 3, I've not played the DLCs, but I hear those DLCs are really good too. And there's a mode where I think you can just straight play the DLCs and they give you all the stuff. Like they basically level you as if you had beaten the game and then you just go into the DLCs.
Yeah.
But the ending to that game is incredible. It was one of the there were lesser games. There's a big showdown that happens like 75% of the way through that game. Lesser games would have ended with that. But this game just keeps going.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, holy crap, a lot of really definitive stuff happened here. A lot of like important characters are dead. Like, is this game done? Like, this is where most games end, but you keep going. There's other stuff that happens. So
Merry Christmas to you, B-Rod.
Yep, see you around.
Yeah, we'll shut it down here. We can talk about
we're done. Oh,
literally anything for like forever.
Especially if people just keep feeding me questions.
Yeah. So, I mean, you never know when we're going to go to the podcast.
The TTR podcast.
Yeah. You never know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll be back on Wednesday. We'll do Keyforge. We might do. I don't know if we're going to start or end with Marvel Champions.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
We'll figure something out. We also don't know what time we're going to start streaming.
I don't know what my schedule is that day, but we'll post it in the Discord.
Yeah.
Which gives us a good...
We'll also do a Keyforge deck giveaway, too, so...
Yeah, that'll give us a good...
The Keyforge Christmas giveaway.
This gives us a good reason to plug all of our stuff.
Yep.
We got the Twitters.
We got the Twitter.
We got the YouTubes. We've got the Discords.
Hold on. It's not up yet, Player Herb.
There's
no giveaway up.
We've got the Twitch channel if you're watching this.
Twitch. I don't have an exclamation mark Twitch command.
We've got
YouTube.
It's just Control C the URL.
Store. Claymore got the store.
We got the store. Bang.
Discord.
We got the Discord.
I think that's it. Get up in there.
There you go.
Make command for all this. Yeah.
It's I don't know.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I have to do something. Someone did post a comment on our YouTube, but like, you should post the URLs for all the decks for each pod.
On the YouTube?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I probably should do that. He's like, I'm lazy. I don't like going to my tabs. I'm like, yeah, man, that makes sense, but that's like extra work for me
I don't know. That's like multiple.
I just kind of click the upload button.
Yeah.
And add it to a playlist. But no, I need to start doing that.
Yeah.
Because it would be helpful for the YouTube viewers.
Yeah.
So if you're listening on YouTube,
which I think that at this point,
I got you covered this time. I think
the YouTube viewers at this point outnumber the Twitch viewers.
Well, if you go by views, it's not like they watch the whole stream, but it's like each one gets about 100 views in the first few days.
Right.
So I don't know.
So
who can say?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, let's go look at some other stuff because I have no idea like what our Twitch stuff does. Like who
actually usually watch on YouTube? Okay. I mean, it's very user friendly to just throw on a YouTube video. It's much easier than digging into our VODs for the latest one, and because you'll get a notification when the YouTube video goes up, and I usually upload it the next morning.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think YouTube outnumbers the Twitch VODs at this point at least. So.
Oh yeah, I think more people would definitely watch on YouTube. That's as far as watching next day type thing.
Yeah.
Watch VOD, watch the YouTube. Easier on bandwidth, and it works. Oh yeah, that's true too. Yeah, because the Twitch VOD viewer can just like crash randomly too. It's great. Love it. Love it. All right, guys, shut it down for real.
Shut it down.
We will see you
for real this time
on Wednesday. Hope everyone has a great Christmas Eve, and we're gonna be back with some Santa hats.
Yeah,
and some Christmas cheer,
the festive,
and a Keyforge deck to give to you guys. So.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye.
Later.
Bye.